Some people argue that it still sounds advisory. If at the end of the day,
yes,
what the judgment is saying that
yes,
you ought to have resigned.
No,
it's not saying...
You can say there are two things.
It would seem that it's more of an admonition.
No,
it's like,
not.
since you haven't done that, then you cannot do this while you are in the house. That's what it sounds like.
I just told you that there are two things. This thing is not advisory. You see, it just said you ought to have resigned honorably by the time you defected, but you didn't. So that's number one. But having not resigned, and the matter having come to court, this is our judicial opinion on this matter, on this question of your resignation. I mean, is this resignation of defection? Defection. Yes. So you cannot participate in the proceedings of the House. You cannot vote. And those are the things for which a legislator is in the House in the first place. If you cannot vote in the House and you cannot participate in the proceedings of the House anymore, it means go away.
It would seem that they have specific things that they cannot vote on.
No, not specific things. Anything in the House. No proceedings, you cannot participate in the proceedings of the House anymore. It's so clear, it is unambiguous. You see, it couldn't be more unambiguous.
Okay.
You see?
Mr. Akiri?
Yes.
What if these lawmakers decide to return to the PDP? What's the position of the law on that?
Well, you see, I'm so strongly opposed to whimsicality, if you permit me, to whimsicality in politics. I'm opposed to venereal or mercenary politics. No, you just have to be steadfast. I mean, why don't we take a cue from developed countries? We don't want to be like them. Now, if you join a party, you sink or swim with that party. Now, but where you must go, then take the honorable path forward. That is, you resign the way you want to resign. You cannot resign from your party, defect from your party, and at the same time want to remain where you are. And you came to where you are on the platform of that party. That is mercenary politics. In other words, you want to bend in the direction of where you think you are favored. You see? So those people, if you resign, you have the right to go. But if you must go honorably.
Do you think it applies both ways?
How? How do you mean both ways?
I mean, we've also seen some defections also from the minority party as well, or the party that is a minority in the House. We've seen them also defect to the PDP as well. Well,
yes, if a minority, if any legislator, and you know this law we are talking about affects only legislators, both at the state and federal levels. You see, it doesn't, like most people give the examples of a former vice president of Nigeria who also resigned, who also defected from the ruling party to a minority party. Why was it? They don't know the law. They don't know that this law is not talking about the president, the vice president, the governor, and the deputy governor. That's why.
Let me even jump in. We'll come back to that one.
Yes.
Just want to continue this train of thought.
Yes.
What does this do to some senators who had alluded to this, saying before this judgment now, that after all, some members in the House of Reps defected and there was no hue and cry about it? Why is the Senate different? So now that this judgment has come, does it, or will it, should it have any bearing with what happens in the Senate?
I don't know. You mean senator? You mean,
some senators moved from one party to the other.
No, but there were 22 senators who have been planning to move. But
written the letter, and the letter has refused. The leadership has refused.
But the leadership has refused.
But they say we have moved.
They cannot.
Their comment is that on the basis of our voting, our decisions will be on the basis of our new party.
Yes.
So you may refuse to read the letter for all you care, but
yes,
we consider ourselves as members of our new party.
But you can be sure one good thing that this judgment has done for Nigeria is that those people will now think in another direction. They won't move again, and that's the beauty of this judgment. Those 22 people,
they will sit down there,
and they will have the president of the Senate to thank for this judgment.
Is that not giving room for dubiousness in the House? I mean, the National Assembly, I mean, they could just sit down and, okay, I'm a member of this party, but everything they do is in line with the other party.
Yes, you see, that's one thing that that's one area where we have to, instead of shoving the lawmakers that we have in Nigeria, we have to push them. You see, push them very well, give them a thwack to the solar plexus so that they will know that lawmaking is beyond this venal thing. Now, like for example, those people that we were talking about, those 22 senators, have been itching to resign, to defect. Now, they've been doing everything as if they were already in the other party, but they have not formally, defected. Now, as a result of this beautiful judgment, they will now thank God that, well, we thank God, particularly the Senate President, that...
Let me hypothesize. What if the Senate President had declared their seats vacant?
Well, that is the beauty of the rule of law, Chambi. You see, most people suggested at the time these 37 people defected the other time, for example, that oh yes, the PDP officials, like the former chairman of the PDP said, oh, we declare the seat vacant. No, you don't do things like that. You must go to court. Let the court say it, like it has been done. And this has expanded the coast of our own jurisprudence in Nigeria, which makes me very happy. You can always refer to this one as a decided authority, since the whole of law is based on the doctrine of stare decisis. So it's beautiful. Don't you see, it has gone to court, and this is a court judgment that can be relied on in the future.
So right from 1952.
Yes, till now, you see?
Unless it's appealed, but there's another
well,
angle.
If they appeal, I can tell you, how many times can I tell you? 1 million times that the result is going to be the same.
Okay, yes. Let's say those 22 senators we talked about sit down in this party.
Yes.
And their party decides that, okay, they're doing anti-party activities and decides to sack them. Would this law apply? Would this portion of the Constitution apply?
If they sit down in the Senate, having not resigned or having not defected to the other party to any other party, but remain in the party and are caught with anti-party activities, now, can this law be cited against them? No. I have said no, because unless and until they formally declare for another party, other than the one on whose platform they came to office, it's only then this law can be cited against them. But as long as they remain, even nominally, members of PDP, you cannot cite this law against them. Okay. But the party, there's a chief whip. I'm sure there is a chief whip in the Senate. The chief whip will bring them to order. Once they are caught in the area of anti-party activities, the chief whip will bring them to order.
That's not. Is that a function of the chief whip or on the proceedings of the day? So they could argue whichever way they want on the floor of the House. Is if they are unruly, is that not when the chief whip comes in?
If they are caught, perpetrating anti-party activity, that's the duty of the chief whip.
What if the chief whip belongs to the party they are doing it
cannot. The chief whip is always a member of the ruling party. The party that has the majority in the House.
There's always a minority whip. But, so looking at, the basis for this particular law, some people will say that it would seem that it springs a little from morals, and that maybe the same should have applied to the executive office. Why do you think that it was particularly done for members of the National Assembly?
Yes, well, you are right, Mark, but you see, I think there is a kind of lacuna in the law. Okay. You see, this law ought not to affect only lawmakers, both at the federal and state levels. You see, if you are the president of the nation, in other words, you are the chief executive officer of the entire nation, it will be bad to hear that you have decamped, that you have become a renegade midstream. You know, you were elected to serve 4 years in office, and then inside these 4 years, the chief executive of the nation decamps. It will sound horrible. So the law ought to have covered the chief executive, the deputy, the vice president, the governor of the state, and the deputy governor of the state. But the way it is, that's why it doesn't. So that's why I say there is a kind of lacuna.